Hey guys, it's Charlene. Today I have a fun sneak peek for you. This is part of the new January release for Honeybee Stamps. It comes out tomorrow. So here I have the Jackpot layering stencils. You can see there are several different stencils, and this is going to create a really fun Las Vegas kind of style themed background. There are also these coordinating dies, which is fun because you can use the dies to cut out different pieces that you've stenciled, so easy coloring. I have a piece of light gray cardstock here, and I'm putting down layering stencil number 1. This is going to create the playing cards as well as part of the poker chips. So I'm going to come in with some white pigment ink to help these stand out. So I'm bringing in the Honeybee Stamps Brilliant White Pigment ink, and I'm going to cover this entire stencil and make sure to get it nice and coated. That's going to allow us to easily build up different colors on top. The more layers of white pigment ink that you use, the more that the white is going to stand out on your colored background. So I did 3 layers here. I'm going to lightly dry this before I move on to my next layer of color so that hopefully we don't smear our white pigment ink. Here is layer number 2, and you can see those center circles are going to line up right inside the other circles that are the poker chip centers. I'm going to use Distress Oxides because Distress Oxides are a hybrid ink. That means they have both pigment ink and dye ink in them, and as a result, they layer really well over white pigment ink. So I'll start out here by filling in all of these spots. Now I can remove this stencil, and look how nicely that shows up on top of the white pigment ink. Layering stencil number 3 is going to give us all of our playing cards, suits. So we're going to line those up so that they're on the inside of the cards. Now, diamonds and hearts are traditionally red, and we're going to do them in more of a pink red. We're using Festive berries. And then clubs and spades are generally black, but I'm using a dark gray here, so I'm using Hickory smoke. I have a piece of scrap cardstock to help me from marking any areas that I don't want colored. And of course, you could do these suits in whatever color you wanted. They don't have to be shades of the traditional red and black. Okay, I finished my hearts and diamonds, so now I'm going to come in and do the spades and clovers. I have a nice pinky peach, some saltwater taffy, and I'm going to do this for the jackpot signs. They show our 777s at the end, as well as these squares, which are going to be part of a pair of dice. You'll see that with the next stencil. So I will do all of these remaining openings here in the saltwater taffy. Okay, now I can take off layering stencil number 3. You can see it's definitely starting to come together. I'm going to dry it a little bit more to keep myself from smearing any of that ink and add on layering stencil number 4. This is going to create that nice little detail on our 777 signs and our other dice, as well as a lemon. For this layer, I'll do an all over of squeezed lemonade, which is a nice yellow. Now we can take that layering stencil off, and next is number 5. This is going to add some fun detail to the dice, the poker chips, the tops of our 777 jackpot signs, as well as a leaf for the lemon. Now for this stencil, I'm going to do an all over in peacock feathers. Remember, you don't have to make colors true to life. You do want to be careful though when you're picking colors to layer over one another. So for instance, we're layering the peacock feathers here over our Kitsch Flamingo that we started with in a couple of different areas. It's going to work fine for this because it'll give me a bit of a blue purple color almost. So these two work just fine together, but definitely keep that in mind when you're working on your layering stencils. So we'll take off number 5 and then use stencil number 6. This is our final detail layer, so it's going to give us our 777s on those jackpot signs. It's going to add the dots to our dice, as well as another detail to our suit symbols and add a detail to our poker chips. To really help these details stand out, I am going to do an all over in black soot. So this is still an oxide, so it'll have a little bit of that kind of chalky texture to it, but it's going to be in black. I am using a brush to work in all of those small, tiny little details so I can make sure they are nice and crisp. And now I can remove the stencil. It looks so cool. I love it. For my sentiment, I have the Lucky to Have You die. There is a shadow with this die as well as the main sentiment, so you can use them together, or you could just use the word sentiment die. I'm going to cut out my shadow in white. And then here you can see I've used a nice light aqua color for the actual sentiment. I'm going to add some glue to the top of one of the layers here, just dotting right along the letters. And then I'm using my reverse tweezers to hold it, because now I can bring in my second layer and gently lay it over the top. And this gives me the vantage point of being able to line it up right in the right position as I move across from left to right. Having that second layer on our sentiment, it gives it a little more substance. It adds some more dimension to the card. So now I'll add glue to the back of the entire piece and center it right over the center of that shadow that I created in white cardstock. I'm going to trim my background down just by about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And then I'll add some glue to the back of it. So now I'm going to have a nice white border here on our A2 size card that's going to match with our border on our sentiment piece. I added some foam tape to the back and I'm removing the release tape. I could place this straight or level on the horizontal, but I'm actually going to place it at an angle because I want to keep that little pop of the pretty peacock feathers ink in the top and down there towards the bottom. It plays really well off of that aqua colored cardstock. So I'll go ahead and put this down at about a 45-degree angle. And that's going to finish off our card. I'm not adding any bling. I'm keeping this pretty clean and simple. You can see how nicely that white pigment ink shows up on the light gray cardstock and how those distress oxides work so well with the layering stencils. All right, guys, I hope you picked up some tips and tricks today. Please be sure to subscribe as well as hit that notification bell so that you'll know about future videos here on the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me and have a wonderful day.